Jersey City Councilwoman-at-Large candidate Esther Wintner, running on mayoral challenger Bill Matsikoudis' ticket, sat down with Hudson County View last week to speak about a number of topics related to her candidacy.
There was obviously a time when Civic JC and Mayor Steven Fulop, before he was mayor, of course, they were partners, friends, allies, whatever word you like to use. Obviously, that's no longer the case. So when did you guys have a split where you and Steve just were no longer on the same page?
You know, I guess a very early red flag would be when I first met him. The very first time that I met him was at someone's house after I'd come to City Hall, and he was there. And he asked me where I lived and who my councilman was, and I said it was David Donnelly. And he said, well, he's an empty suit, and you should go back to City Hall, and you should call him out on it. And I did, because, you know, I was listening to what he said. Everybody said he was a great councilman. And then when we decided to do the recall, myself and a group of activists that I had met down here, we couldn't do a recall in Ward B. So that's how I ended up running in the special election. And so it was a little curious for me to see that he was now going around with David, who he had called an empty suit, and then later appointed him or worked with him on the council. And so things like that, I mean, you know, I just kind of looked at that and I said, well, I don't really know what that's all about. But it came to a head when some of us were doing research on campaign contributions, and we couldn't understand that. And I asked about that at a council meeting, and he flipped out on me. And, you know, he flipped out on me, and he said what he had to say. I said what I had to say, and that was pretty much the end.
You're running with Bill Matsikoudis. So this is the first time you're running on a slate. I mean, why do you think this time will be different?
Well, I think this time, you know, running on a ticket, you have, I mean, I feel fortunate because my running mates are really great people, and they're very supportive emotionally. It's a very tight ticket. We've really bonded as a group of people, and I think that's very important.
The mayor and others on his ticket and in the administration, their criticism of Bill Matsikoudis has been he was the corporation counsel under Jeremiah Healy, and the shortcomings of Jeremiah Healy are the shortcomings of Bill Matsikoudis. So what do you say to that kind of train of thought?
Well, you know, there might be some truth to that. You know, I can also look at the current corporation counsel and ask the same question. I mean, he's now the head of the MUA, right? So do I blame the corporation counsel or do I blame the head of the snake? Like, you know, corporation counsels, yes, they have a lot of influence, but at some point they're not the head of the They're not at the head of the top. And so that decision-making comes from the mayor. I mean, I think that it's a free country. He should have the ability to be able to show us how he governs, right? Because he's not been in a position of governing. And give him that shot, give him that opportunity.
Why do you think you're best qualified to sit on the dais as a council-at-large representative for the city?
Well, I think that, you know, I've focused on the issues, and as an activist, and I do use that word activist because I think there are a lot of community people that may be running or want to run that are calling themselves activists, but they're not activists. They're community people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But activists take a position. Activists take an action when needed. And so I think that I've been pretty upfront and vocal about my feelings on things, whether they are abatements, whether it's on the transfer of 16 acres of property or changing the election date. I have taken positions, or whether it's suing City Hall, whatever, taken positions and taken actions. So people know my mindset, okay? So there will be no surprises in my thought process. I understand the issues of the city. I think that I would be fair and judicious.
I'm John Heides with the Hudson County View, the eye of the community.